What's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm about to check out Bark Fighting, how Ronda Rousey turned the whole world against her. That is a good question. Why did everyone turn on Ronda for no reason? Which I don't even know, but I like to hear this. I like to hear this from Mark himself. But you know what? I don't got time to talk about it before I do start the video. Please y'all go ahead, hit that like, comment, share, subscribe. If y'all new to the channel, please y'all go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm begging you.
Ronda Rousey still just doesn't get it.
The second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit.
She thinks she's entitled to this huge MMA fan base who should worship the ground she walks on, like a Chuck Liddell, GSP, or Anderson Silva. But in the most critical stages of her career, she turned a blind eye to the fans, and that resentment is still present.
Why are you so mad? That's what I would love to know. I would love to ask Ronda, why are you so mad? Why are you so mad at the world?
Whether it was being called a sore winner, a bitter loser, or having too much of an ego, the MMA world simply doesn't hold Ronda in the same regards as other legends of the sport.
When she talks about comparing the treatment of WWE legends, UFC legends, she's talking about the way the UFC treats its legends compared to how WWE treats its legends.
And almost a decade on from her very last fight in the octagon, Ronda Rousey still hates the fact that fans don't adore her, and even though she can't see it, it's almost entirely her fault. So this is the story of how the world turned on Ronda Rousey. Generally speaking, Ronda isn't one for the media. After fighting in pro wrestling, Ronda and her husband Travis Brown disappeared to their 4,000-acre farm in southern Oregon.
Our table scraps to the chickens. All right, guys. Oh, look who's...
But every now and then, she pops back up with a few things to say and just as quickly vanishes. This time, it was on the Bird Crusher podcast of all places.
You were TuneIn Television. I mean, you were the reason we bought the fight.
Oh, thanks.
Isn't that crazy, though?
I mean, I'm really grateful you bought my fights.
Was it hard to wrap your head around when it was happening?
No, it felt like destiny.
And throughout the conversation, there were numerous things Ronda said that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Firstly, one of her big problems with MMA is how, in her eyes, they don't value the legends like other sports do.
MMA fans and media are the most "what have you done for us lately" crowd of any sport. Like you look at WWE and they have such a reverence for their legends. And at MMA, it's like the second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit.
And then she went on to name individual fighters.
Chuck Liddell, when he's on top, oh my God, he's the best. The second that he loses, oh, Chuck Liddell ain't shit, he never was shit. You know? And then Rampage Jackson, oh my God, he's the next Mike Tyson, he's so great. Second he loses, oh, Rampage ain't shit, he never was shit.
Yeah.
GSP, oh, he loses, he's not shit, he never was shit.
But while all sports fans can be
that don't make no sense.
All of these fighters are held in pretty high regard nowadays. No MMA fan is walking around saying GSP.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even when they, win so many fights and win belts and they take losses, but they still have respect for the fans. What is she even saying for that? Like, I don't even get that. I just don't get it, though.
It wasn't even that good. Ronda seems to be under the impression it was her losing that made fans lose adoration for her.
The only reason that why MMA fans have their lips so firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock is because he retired before he reached his limit. And if he kept fighting until he reached his limit, everybody would be like, oh, Khabib ain't shit, he never was shit.
And then Ronda turned her attention to the MMA media.
I rather disagree on that.
She questioned why members of the media can be friendly and sing her praises 1 minute, only to question her ability in the next.
That's why I don't talk to those people anymore.
Really?
When's the last time you saw me on Arrow Hawani?
I don't know if I ever have.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time?
Yeah, because I remember that shit.
Really?
Yeah, I remember people who I thought, were my friends, and turns out that they weren't, so I just don't talk to them anymore because that helps them out.
But that is quite literally their job. Media members, journalists, and reporters all have a right to discuss the fall of a champion. And she left Joe Rogan into that point, which is never going to go down well with MMA fans.
Do you know, I was just talking to Joe on the walk over, and all it takes is a text going, how long for me to train to beat Ronda? That'll never happen.
He wouldn't know. He's not an expert. He's a fan with an audience.
Ronda's big problem is her lack of awareness as to why people aren't her #1 fans. It's not because she lost 2 fights at the end of her career. It's so many other things. She refuses to speak to MMA media, yet is mad when MMA fans move on and leave her in the past. It makes no sense. But if you look throughout her career, the signs were blatantly obvious that for all her skills inside the octagon, Ronda wasn't great at managing the relationship between her and the fans all too well. We all know Ronda was miles ahead of any female fighter during her rise.
She is just absolutely collecting arms and doing things that are incredible for the sport, that are incredible for athletics, certainly men and women. She's just a phenom worthy of all her success, but damn, she is violent.
In a time where male fighters were becoming more rounded, the women's side of the sport hadn't seen that transition yet, so Rousey's one-trick armbar supported by her Olympic bronze judo was way too much to handle for her competition. It made her one of the biggest stars of all time in the sport, forced Dana White to add women's divisions to the UFC, and one of the few fighters to transcend into mainstream media. In all of the UFC's history, Ronda is a top 5 name without a doubt. There was even a time where she was the highest paid fighter on the entire roster. No one can deny that Ronda Rousey is the most important female MMA fighter and perhaps combat athlete of all time. She was armbarring challengers within seconds, and at the height of her stardom, Ronda started knocking people out cold.
I was in Brazil.
Of course.
I remember saying this is like the Beatles. In Brazil. She's fighting one of their own, Bethe Correia. They treated her like a superstar, like a god, like John Lennon was there.
If you weren't a fan of the sport at the time, Ronda's trajectory was truly wild. But it's at this point where things got a bit too crazy. And in hindsight, the MMA world, Ronda's coaches, and Ronda herself went way too far. And the biggest place was the hypothetical fight between her and the consensus greatest boxer in the world at the time.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
Once you get him to the ground, then that could be it.
What?
Once you get him to the ground, that could be it.
Well, I mean, I spend a lot of time there, and, you know, I doubt that he does.
But it wasn't just her saying some wild things. It sounds ridiculous looking back, but a big chunk of the MMA community genuinely believed Ronda was this mythical fighter.
She could probably beat half the men bantamweights in the UFC.
Is that true?
No, it's not, definitely not true. Shouldn't have said it at the time. Now it's definitely not true.
Perhaps it was this, all the quick finishes, or the world being at her feet. But Ronda started growing a bit of an ego, and not a nice one. After all, she was this indestructible, unstoppable fighter that no one could handle. So Ronda had become a bit of a sore winner, enjoyed mocking her opponents afterwards, and getting cocky in the build-up.
She was very confident while she was the champion, and some people would say arrogant, and because of that, there's all these people that are waiting for you to fall. There's a lot of people out there that don't have much confidence, and when they see someone who's out there who's got a lot of confidence, it's very compelling, like a Floyd Mayweather or like a Conor McGregor. Their confidence is incredibly compelling. Like you want to be near them. But those people, when that person loses, they're the first ones to attack. They're like, yeah, you fucking loser. I knew you were a loser.
Let's be honest. Part of Ronda being a superstar was that no-nonsense F you attitude that she had. But after a while, it got a bit much and fans started to notice. Much like the story from Miesha Tate about Paige Van Zandt's run-in with Ronda.
I heard about this, man.
You fair weather, how dare you cross me, blah, blah, blah. She's like, cross you? What are you talking about? And she's like, you congratulated Holly Holm for beating me, so fuck you, you fucking fair weather, 115 pound. Like, it was just like, went off on Paige. And Paige came and told me, and I was like, honey, welcome to my world. She's like, oh my God. She's like, I'm glad that I saw this side of her, so I know.
It made for a super entertaining figure, but as a person, fans weren't on board. One of the biggest examples was Rousey not shaking Miesha Tate's hand after she had beat her. They were serious rivals,
I've seen this fight.
You almost always shake your opponent's hand. And Miesha, even in defeat, offered Ronda a hand, but she refused it. Even after a spectacular victory, Ronda somehow made it sour. So when the unthinkable happened and Ronda finally lost, well, the MMA world was quick to jump on it, and it shattered Ronda's world.
Yeah, I gotta say, I gotta give respect for Miesha Tate for handling her loss to Ronda for the second time. But what do we know? Eric and Ronda just be like, nah, I beat you twice, so I ain't no need to shake your hand. You don't have to earn my respect. Like, what you doing? Like, you beat her twice, and then she literally she want to shake your hand. It's like, hey, you beat me, so you're the best. So ain't nothing to it, but nah. Ronda was a sore winner, so it's like you can't just do that. You got to be respected.
Tonight was one of those moments, man. These are the moments in fighting that make it so crazy and so fun. Tonight was one of those moments. Rogan was downstairs. He was saying, this is by far the biggest upset in UFC history.
At the time, Ronda losing to Holly Holm was one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, up there with the likes of GSP Matt Serra. But it wasn't just that Ronda lost that was so shocking. It was the fact she was first dominated on the feet, unable to get the takedown, then brutally knocked out in front of the largest live audience in UFC history. For someone who put so much emphasis on being the best, being unbeatable, this destroyed Ronda's own perception of herself.
Honestly, like my thought, I was like in the medical room, and I was like down in the corner. I was sitting in the corner.
And she went on to the Helen show and started crying.
And I was literally sitting there and like thinking about killing myself. And then exact second, I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore? And
vanished.
And then the next time we see her, she's getting off a plane, covering her face because she felt embarrassed because she was such a gamer, such a competitive person that it crushed her. And that's okay. But guess what? UFC fans, whether she wants to believe it or not, and I didn't live it, but I can say this with the utmost certainty, they wanted to love her. They wanted to coddle her and appreciate her. She did not allow that.
And when she did finally come back to speak on the fight, the excuses were in full flow. A bad weight cut, the wrong mouthpiece, slipping and causing herself a concussion during camp. While they may all be true, or they may be actual excuses, it just comes across as being salty that you lost.
I remember the narrative after the fight. It wasn't she ain't shit, she never was shit. The narrative was, you know what? We should have seen this coming. After all, Holly Holm was a Hall of Fame boxer and a pretty damn good kickboxer as well. We probably should have given her a lot more respect. But Ronda was on this trajectory. She was flying high, and she's being compared to Floyd Mayweather and on ring